The salt spray stung Aspen's eyes like tears she refused to shed. But it was the cold steel of the letter opener in her trembling hand that cut deepest, poised not against her half-sisters' throats, but against the faded envelope that had just arrived, stamped with her late mother's elegant script, for Aspen only. Burn if they come. Brooke's voice sliced through the roar of the Pacific like a shark's fin breaking the surface. You selfish bitch. That villa was our inheritance too, Mom and Dad's blood money from the Hamptons deals. Not your little dyke paradise. In that instant, as Cassidy's sobs twisted into a venomous hiss, we'll drag your filthy secrets into the light. Aspen. Starting with what really happened to Dad. The beach house behind them, with its weathered cedar shingles and windows glowing like accusatory eyes, seemed to lean in, whispering the ghosts of a family long fractured by lies no ocean could wash away. Aspen lowered the letter opener, her knuckles whitening around the worn teak railing of the villa's deck. The envelope's wax seal, a delicate seashell pressed into crimson, had cracked under her thumb like the fragile piece she'd built here in Big Sur, California, far from the polished betrayals of her East Coast upbringing. 35. She'd traded Manhattan's concrete canyons for this cliffside sanctuary 5 years ago, after her parents' yacht went down off Nantucket in a freak squall. Or so the official story went. The villa, perched like a sentinel over the churning sea, had been her anchor, waves crashing below, wild cypress twisting in the wind, and Riley, her quiet revolution. She glanced back through the open French doors. Riley was inside, cross-legged on the worn Persian rug, her sketchpad balanced on her knees as she captured the fading light in quick, charcoal strokes. 32. With that effortless grace that made Aspen's chest ache like a bruise she never wanted to heal. They'd met 2 summers back at a gallery opening in Carmel, Riley's abstract seascapes, all turbulent blues and hidden depths, mirroring the storm Aspen carried unspoken. One spilled glass of Pinot Noir later, and they were tangled in the back seat of Aspen's Jeep, fogging the windows with breaths that tasted like freedom. Now, Riley's hazel eyes flicked up, sensing the shift in the air like a deer catching a predator's scent. Everything okay out there? Before Aspen could answer, the gravel crunched under tires, harsh, uninvited. A sleek black Escalade barreled up the private drive, kicking up dust that swirled like angry spirits. Brooke and Cassidy, her half-sisters, fruits of her father's wandering eye during his business trips to the vineyard. Brooke, the eldest at 38, always the golden child with her law degree from Yale and a corner office in Boston, viewing life as a deposition to be won. Cassidy, 36, the fragile middle child, a failed actress clinging to residuals from bit parts in indie flicks, her life a series of auditions and overdrafts. They hadn't spoken since the funeral. Not really, polite condolences exchanged over crystal flutes of Veuve Clicquot, eyes sliding away from the elephantine void of their shared grief. The doors slammed like guillotines. Brooke strode forward first, her Louboutins sinking into the pea gravel, a manila folder clutched like a weapon. Cassidy trailed, arms wrapped around herself against the chill wind, her sundress fluttering like a white flag of surrender that never quite waved. Aspen, Brooke barked. No preamble. Her blue eyes mirror images of their fathers, cold as the Atlantic in January. We've given you 5 years to play house. Time's up. We're selling the villa. Aspen's laugh was a brittle thing, echoing off the bluffs. Play house? This isn't some Monopoly board. Brooke. Mom left it to me. Her will was ironclad. Read it again if your fancy firm's billing hours haven't blinded you. Cassidy's voice cracked. stepping closer. Her gray eyes, soft like their mother's, pleading yet edged with something sharper. It's not about the money, SP. Not all of it. Dad always said this place was for the family. For all of us. You've turned it into your little love nest. Her gaze darted past Aspen, toward the interior glow where Riley now stood in the doorway, wiping charcoal from her fingers on her jeans. The word love nest hung there, laced with the old venom, the kind that whispered deviant without saying it aloud. Riley's hand found Aspen's waist from behind, a steadying warmth that grounded her against the rising tide of fury. Hey, Riley murmured, low enough for only Aspen to hear, her breath a soft anchor. You don't have to do this alone. Brooke's lips curled, a predator's smile. Oh, look, the artist's here. How quaint. Riley, right? The one who paints pretty pictures to hide from real life. It was a low blow, aimed at Riley's nomadic past, galleries in Portland, a trust fund squandered on canvases and wanderlust. But Riley didn't flinch, she just tilted her head, her auburn curls catching the last rays like embers. Better than lawyering for vultures, Brooke. At least my work creates something. The air thickened, charged like the moments before thunder. Aspen felt the envelope burning a hole in her pocket, its weight a talisman against the storm. She'd found it tucked in the villa's attic last month, amid yellowed ledgers and faded Polaroids. Her mother, elegant Eleanor, laughing on this very deck with a woman whose face Aspen didn't recognize, dark hair, knowing smile, arms slung possessively around Eleanor's waist. The date on the back, 1989. Aspen had been 9 then, oblivious to the undercurrents in their Greenwich manse, the way her father traveled for work, while her mother stared out windows with eyes like shattered sea glass. That night, after the sisters' tires screeched away in defeat, Aspen and Riley had made love on the deck under a canopy of stars, the ocean's roar drowning their whispers. What if they're right? Aspen had confessed, her head on Riley's chest, tracing the freckles like constellations. What if this place isn't mine to keep? Riley's fingers had woven through her hair, voice steady as the tide. It's yours because you fought for it. We both did, but the hook had been set. 2 days later, the certified letter arrived, a demand from Brooke's firm, citing irregularities in the will, hinting at undue influence. Family reconciliation required. It read, or litigation ensues. Aspen crumpled it, but the damage seeped in like fog off the water. She started dreaming of the yacht again, not the sanitized Coast Guard report, but flashes, her father's hand slipping from the rail, Eleanor's scream swallowed by the gale, and that woman from the photo, watching from the shore with eyes that knew too much. Riley noticed first. Of course. They were hip-deep in the surf one morning, boards tucked under arms, when Aspen froze mid-laugh, staring at a rogue wave curling like a question mark. Talk to me, Riley said, water beating on her lashes like diamonds. Aspen spilled it then, the photo, the envelope, the gnawing doubt that her parents' death wasn't accident but erasure. They were hiding something. About me. About us. Us meaning more than just Aspen and Riley, us as in the family she'd pieced together from half-truths. That evening, as the sun dipped low, painting the cliffs in blood orange, Aspen finally slit the envelope open. Inside, a single sheet of linen stationery, Eleanor's looping cursive unfolding like a sail in the wind. My dearest Aspen, if you're reading this, They've come for what's yours. Your father and I built walls around our love, not because it was wrong, but because the world in the 80s demanded it. He knew about Clara, my light from Vassar days. She was the one who taught me to love without apology. When I chose him, for you, for the life we could build, broke us all a little. But Clara never left. She watched from afar. Her letters my lifeline. The villa? It's hers too. In a way, our secret haven, where we'd steal weekends pretending the world was kind. The yacht. God, forgive me. It wasn't the storm. It was the truth rising like bile. He found the letters, the ones from Clara begging me to leave. We argued that night, words sharper than any gale. He slipped, or I pushed, I'll never know. But if they come, tell them this: you were born of love, not obligation. Lesbian love, fierce and unyielding, just like yours will be. Burn this. Live free. Forever. Mom. Aspen's knees buckled, the paper fluttering to the deck like a fallen leaf. Riley caught her, arms a cradle against the unraveling. Oh, honey, she whispered, rocking them both as sobs tore free, guttural things that the sea tried to swallow but couldn't. For the first time, Aspen saw it clear, her mother's silences, the way she'd gaze at the horizon with hunger, the aunt who'd visit unannounced with eyes like Eleanor's own. Clara. The ghost in the photo. The revelation hit like a rogue wave, dragging Aspen under in the days that followed. She and Riley holed up in the villa, the world narrowing to salt air and whispered confessions, but the sister's shadow loomed larger. A squall on the horizon. Brooke called first voicemail. Crisp and corporate. We've got new evidence. Aspen. Meet us in Monterey tomorrow. Or the courts will. Cassidy texted later. A rambling plea laced with barbs. This isn't us against you. But Mom had secrets. Dad too. You think you're the only one hurting? Riley brewed chamomile in the copper kettle. Her movements deliberate. A ritual to tether them both. You don't owe them shit, she said, sliding the mug across the scarred oak table, steam curling like question marks. But Aspen knew better. Owed or not, the secrets festered, demanding air. That night, tangled in the king-sized bed with its faded quilt, stitched by Eleanor's own hands, they made love slowly, deliberately, as if mapping each other's scars. Riley's mouth on her collarbone, tasting salt and skin, Aspen's fingers tracing the curve of Riley's hip, whispering I love you like a vow against the dark. It was their rebellion. This intimacy fierce, unapologetic. A middle finger to the ghosts. Monterey dawned gray. The coastal highway a ribbon of mist-cloaked pines. Aspen drove the Jeep. Riley shotgun with a thermos of black coffee and her sketchpad, doodling waves that looked suspiciously like hearts in turmoil. The law office squatted in Cannery Row's shadow, all glass and steel amid the historic charm, a metaphor for Brooke if ever there was one. Inside, the conference room smelled of stale ambition, polished mahogany, fresh printouts, and the faint tang of Cassidy's vanilla perfume masking her nerves. Brooke sat at the head, legs crossed, folder open like a prosecutor's Bible. Cassidy fidgeted beside her, twisting a silver bracelet, the one from their father's 60th, engraved to my girl. Aspen took the seat opposite, Riley a silent sentinel at her shoulder, hand brushing Aspen's under the table in a pulse of solidarity. Let's cut the bullshit, Brooke started. Sliding photos across the table, grainy prints from the 80s, yellowed at the edges. Eleanor and a woman, Clara. Aspen now knew, locked in an embrace on this very beach. Lips inches apart. Eyes closed in defiance of the camera's judgment. Dad found these in her things after the accident. He confronted her on the yacht. It wasn't a squall, Aspen. It was murder-suicide. She pushed him. He pulled her down. And you? You're not even his. Clara's the bio-mom. Some Vassar fling Eleanor covered up with IVF lies and his name on the birth certificate. Cassidy whimpered, covering her mouth. We didn't want to believe it. But the PI confirmed DNA from the estate files. You're not family. Not really. So the villa? It's ours by blood right. Sell it. Or we go public. The tabloids would eat this up. Eris's lesbian legacy of lies. The room spun. Aspen's pulse thundering like surf against breakwater. Riley's grip tightened. Her voice cutting through the haze, calm. Lethal. That's not a threat, that's blackmail. And it's horseshit. Aspen's blood is this family's. Secrets and all. You want the villa? Earn it. Or crawl back to Boston and choke on your entitlement. Brooke's laugh was ice. Earn it? From the live-in girlfriend who dropped out of RISD? Spare me the white knight routine. Riley. This is about justice for Dad, who slaved for that Hampton's fortune while Eleanor played house with her side piece. Aspen shoved back from the table, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. The photos trembled in her hand, not revulsion, but recognition. Clara's eyes, green like hers, holding Eleanor's with a tenderness that pierced. Justice, she echoed, voice steadying as Riley's thumb stroked her palm. You think Dad was the victim? He knew about Mom, about me, and he buried it. Built his empire on her silence. The villa wasn't his to give. It was Mom's escape. Her love letter to a life she couldn't live. And yet, I'm Clara's. Biologically. But that doesn't erase the bedtime stories. The Sunday pancakes. The way she held me when I came out at 16 and Dad pretended not to hear. Cassidy's tears spilled then. Real and ragged. We loved her too. But you got the beach house. The special one. We got the brownstones in Beacon Hill. The expectations. It's not fair. Fair. Riley snorted. But Aspen silenced her with a look, compassion flickering through the rage. These were her sisters, twisted by the same patriarchal noose. Life's not a division of assets, Cass. It's messy, like waves pulling you under before they let you breathe. Mom wanted me to burn the letter, to live free. But I'm done hiding. Take the photos, the DNA hell, take the headlines. But the villa stays mine. They stormed out into the drizzle. Brooke's shouts echoing. This isn't over. But Aspen's steps felt lighter. Unburdened. In the Jeep, Riley pulled her into a kiss that tasted of rain and resolve, fingers tangling in wet hair. Proud of you, she murmured against Aspen's lips. My fierce ocean girl. Back at the villa. The storm broke proper. Sheets of rain lashing the windows, thunder rumbling like unresolved grief. Aspen called Clara that night. The number from the letter's margin a lifeline to the unknown. The voice on the other end was smoke and silk, laced with New England vowels. Aspen? My God. I've waited decades for this. They talked till dawn. Vassar 82. Stolen kisses in the stacks. Eleanor's marriage as a cage gilded with fortune. The pregnancy. A miracle of science and secrecy. Clara. Now 65. A literature prof in Providence. Her life a quiet archive of what-ifs. She named you after the trees here, tall, unyielding, whispering secrets to the wind. The call cracked something open in Aspen. A floodgate of questions. Why the yacht? Clara's sigh carried oceans. Eleanor confessed everything that weekend. Your father. He couldn't forgive the betrayal. Not her loving me, but her loving women. He drank, railed about legacy, bloodlines. In the fight, he lunged, slipped on the wet deck. She tried to save him, but the sea paused, heavy as anchor chain. The autopsy said accident, but guilt drowned her after. She wrote me one last letter. Tell our girl she's enough. Riley held Aspen through the sobs, her own tears silent tracks on freckled cheeks. You're more than enough, she vowed, lips brushing temple. You're the whole damn sea. But peace was a cruel tease. Brooke escalated. Process servers at the gate 2 days later. Papers citing fraud. Alienation of affection. Twisting the will into knots. Cassidy showed up alone that afternoon. Soaked from the downpour. Pounding on the door like a supplicant. Let me in. SP. Please. Riley answered. Wary. But Aspen waved her through. Cassidy collapsed on the sofa. Mascara rivers. Clutching a bottle of Eleanor's favorite Chardonnay, 89 vintage. The year of the photo. Brooks lost it, she gasped. She's hiring a PI to dig up dirt on you, you're coming out. The flings before Riley. Anything to paint you as unstable. But I can't. I found Mom's journal in the attic last year. The real one. She wrote about you. SP, how you were her rainbow. Even when the world stormed. Aspen poured 3 glasses. The rain a percussion to their confessions. Cassidy spilled. The sisters' own fractures. Brooke's loveless marriage to cover her affairs with men and women alike. Cassidy's string of toxic boyfriends masking her fluid heart. We're jealous. Yeah. Of your freedom. But mostly, we're scared. Of becoming him cold. Controlling. As lightning forked the sky. They talked till the bottle emptied. Shared memories of Christmases in Greenwich. Eleanor's secret smiles. The yacht's shadow lifting like fog. Riley sketched quietly. Capturing Cassidy's vulnerability in soft lines, a bridge, perhaps, toward mending. Dawn broke clear. The storm's fury spent, leaving the coast scrubbed raw and renewed. Aspen woke to Riley's humming, some old Joan Baez tune, voice like honey over gravel, as she flipped pancakes in the galley kitchen, sunlight slanting through salt-flecked panes. Cassidy had crashed in the guest room. Her snores a tentative truce. But the idyll shattered with Brooks' arrival, not alone this time, but with a silver-haired attorney in a Brooks Brothers suit, bearing a settlement offer scrawled in legalese. The deck confrontation unfolded like a Greek tragedy, the Pacific a chorus of indifferent waves below. Brooke paced, heels clicking on cedar. Her bob impeccable despite the wind. Sign this. Aspen. 50-50 split on the sale. Or we subpoena Clara. Drag her skeletons into court. Imagine the headlines. Dead tycoon's wife in decades-long lesbian affair. Illegitimate heir exposed. The attorney nodded sagely. But his eyes darted, uncomfortable with the venom. Cassidy hovered at the railing, clutching her coffee like a shield. Riley leaned against the post, arms crossed, her artist's gaze dissecting Brooke like a flawed canvas. "You're not just fighting for bricks and mortar," she said softly, voice carrying over the surf. "You're fighting the love that built it." Pathetic. Brooke whirled, color high in her cheeks. What would you know about love? Bohemian? Painting sunsets while Aspen plays house on stolen ground. Stolen. Aspen's voice rose, the letters echo fueling her. She stepped forward, green eyes locking on blue, sister to sister. Blood or not. Mom built this with Clara. With me in her heart. Dad? He funded it to buy silence. And you, both of you, you've chased his ghost. Lawyering and auditioning for approval that never came. But this. She swept an arm toward the horizon, where dolphins arced like silver promises. This is freedom. Mom's gift. Take your half of the Hamptons cash. Brooke. Lawyer your way to numbness. But leave the villa. Leave us. Cassidy broke first. Voice a whisper shout. Brooke. Stop. I read the journal. Mom chose Aspen because she saw herself in her, the fire. The heart that wouldn't bend. We're not blood avengers, we're just broken. The attorney cleared his throat, gathering papers. Perhaps a recess, but Brooke lunged, snatching the folder from his briefcase. More photos. This time of Aspen and Riley. Stolen shots from paparazzi drones. Intimate moments on the beach twisted into scandal fodder. You think you're untouchable? Your little romance is tabloid gold. Eris's sapphic scandal. It'll tank your precious privacy. Rage crested in Aspen. A tidal wave. She grabbed the photos, tearing them in halves. Quarters. Letting the shreds flutter into the wind like confetti from a funeral. Publish it. Scream it from the cliffs. I'm done whispering. Mom died for this truth, hiding her love for Clara. For women. For a life beyond your father's ledger. And me? I'm her daughter. Queer as the day I was born. Loving Riley with everything she denied herself. You want secrets exploded? Here they are. Dad wasn't the hero, he was the cage. Mom wasn't the villain. She was the spark. And us? We're the fire that survives. Riley moved then, slipping her hand into Aspen's, their fingers interlacing like roots in soil. The touch was electric. A current of shared storms weathered. Brooke faltered, her facade cracking, eyes glistening. Not with fury, but something raw. Regret perhaps. You don't get it. Without this fight, what's left? Dad's fortune was all we had of him. Cassidy stepped between them, arms out like a referee. Then let it go. Brooke. Let her have it. We have each other. That's the real inheritance. The attorney slunk away soon after, murmuring about mediation. Brooke lingered, wind whipping her blazer, staring at the torn photos eddying toward the sea. I didn't know. About Clara. About any of it. Her voice broke, a chink in the armor. He never told us. Just expected us to carry on. Aspen nodded, the fight ebbing like receding tide. He expected too much from all of us. But Mom? She expected better. For you, too. Brooke turned away, shoulders slumping, and walked to her car without another word. Cassidy hugged Aspen fiercely, brief, bone-crushing, then followed, whispering, "Call me." For real this time. The villa sighed in the aftermath, as if exhaling decades of held breath. Aspen and Riley collapsed onto the Adirondack chairs. Wine in hand, Eleanor's 89 again. A toast to ghosts laid to rest. The sun dipped low, gilding the waves in gold, and Riley sketched them there, two women entwined, faces tilted to the light, the ocean a vast, forgiving canvas. Weeks blurred into healing. Clara visited, a weekend of clam bakes on the beach. Stories spun like yarn. Eleanor's first kiss with Clara under Harvard elms. The terror of the closet in Reagan's America. The quiet joy of Aspen's birth. "She was so proud of you," Clara said one evening. Her hand on Aspen's knee. Green eyes meeting green. "The way you love openly. Without apology. It's what she dreamed for us." Brooke sent papers a month later. The claim dropped. Villa deeded clean. A note tucked inside. Scrawled in her precise hand, "Burn your bridges if you must. I'll build mine differently." Forgive? Maybe. Family? Always. Cassidy crashed more weekends. Her auditions giving way to scriptwriting. Stories of fractured women finding their shore. Aspen and Riley married on that deck the following summer. Barefoot in white linen. Vows exchanged with the sea as witness. Clara officiated. Voice trembling. Cassidy and Brooke in the front row. Tissues in hand. No headlines came, only quiet ripples. A local paper's feature on Big Sur's hidden histories, celebrating love's endurance over legacy's weight. In the end, the villa stood not as spoils of war, but sanctuary, walls echoing with laughter, canvases drying on lines, waves whispering enough. Aspen, once adrift in secret's undertow, found her depth in Riley's gaze fierce, tender, eternal. For in the heart of America's wild coast, where cliffs met sky and secrets met sea, love wasn't an explosion to survive, but a horizon to chase. And chase it they did, hand in unyielding hand.